I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Town Board, May 2nd, 2013, starting at 6:32 p.m. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda will be citizens' comments.
Hello, I'm Kurt O'Brien, West 251, South 4439 Oakview Drive. This is my first time to one of these meetings on the water issue, and I was out to dinner with a gentleman last night, and we were talking about buying homes in the town of Waukesha, and the first question out of his mouth was, are you going to have access to city water? Basically, without that, he wasn't interested. So I think this is a very important decision the town has to make. I think the decisions in the past, I understand why those strategies were taken, but they're obviously not working. And I think we need to look at what's best for all the citizens of Waukesha, the town of Waukesha, and access to this water is a one-time opportunity, and we just can't walk away from it. So I'm hoping people will be open-minded tonight, take a look at the big picture, and come up with the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one tonight?
My name is Jennifer Johnson, and I live at W256 S. like in Sam 4560 Shadow Ridge Drive. And I just have three main points to make tonight. Number one, Bruce Baker, our water expert, who was hired by the town, has been advising us to be part of the city water application, and yet up to now we are not heeding his advice. Help me to understand why we are not heeding advice of somebody that we are paying to give us this advice. Number two, our own attorney, Dean Lang, says we don't have a leg to stand on. Why are we not heeding our own attorney's advice? Number three, the matter to be discussed this evening, I believe, is the April 25th letter, the last letter that was sent to us by Ed Henschel in the city of Waukesha. And in that letter, it includes the entire town, and the lather wells and property are no longer an issue. So what I ask you again, help me to understand why we have not accepted the terms of this letter when it provides a win-win for both parties involved. We need to have a backup plan, and this is our opportunity to do so. We cannot overlook that window of opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alette Krzyzanowski, West 254, South 4360, Pin Oak Lane. The town of Waukesha was established in 1842. We have never had a water backup plan. It has never been an issue until the city of Waukesha had issues with their water, and they need to get the Lake Michigan water in. They created this emergency for the town of Waukesha. The town of Waukesha never went to the city and said, we need your water, we need your water. That's never occurred. People have dealt with this. If their well went dry, they sunk a deeper well. Your septic goes bad, you get a new septic system. That's part of maintaining your property in a township. And we knew that when we purchased our properties in the township. So this crisis and this backup and this great need that everybody's expressing suddenly, it's manufactured by the city. It's their crisis. It is not our crisis. We don't need to have a backup water plan. And there was no guarantee when any people in this room bought their house. That was not a consideration when they purchased their houses here, because they wouldn't have come here if they wanted city water. So I really don't comprehend everybody's urgency and crisis and feeling like we have to have this, we can't survive without it. because we've been surviving for 6 years longer than the state of Wisconsin without it. And I really don't see the crisis. And I really see that Waukesha has the crisis, and I don't think they handled their crisis very well. In my opinion, they should have built their filtration plant years ago. They could have been up and running, but they chose not to do that. That's their problem. Their failure to plan is not our crisis.
Thank you.
I'll go. Good evening. Sandy Hahn, West 230, South 3827, Milky Way Road in Newtown. Since this new group of board members has begun acting with the new chairman, there have been 5 meetings in 3 weeks. Only one of those meetings was a regular meeting. 4 have been special meetings. What is that all about? Oh yeah, it's all about the water. 4 of the meetings have had the water service area as an agenda item. I guess that seems like a lot to me, and I dare say it indicates to me an overly strong interest in providing the town's water resources to the city. I have to wonder why this agenda item, if necessary at all, could not wait until the next regularly scheduled town board meeting on May 9th. I'm forced to wonder, what is the urgency? Surely no one believes in the city's supposed deadlines, as they come and go with great regularity. Agenda item 3A reads, quote, Water Service Area Plan and Response to the City of Waukesha Letter. From what I've heard already tonight, my confusion is confirmed. I have to say that that agenda item is so sufficiently vague to me that I wonder how it can even be a valid agenda item. What letter from the city? There are so many. Does the agenda item reference a letter prior to this week, say April or February or December, or one subsequent to the letter that was voted to be sent only 3 days ago? Or in the alternatives that I've learned might be the case, is the letter referenced in the agenda the letter the town sent on April 30th? And if that is the case, then what is the meaning of having the agenda say response to? Are we to discuss the city's response to the April 30th letter? And did we get one in writing? Or does it mean our own response to our own letter? I got to tell you, this agenda item is terribly confusing as to what it's all about, other than more attempts to give the town's water to the city. As for the letter that was sent Tuesday, I know one of the supervisors indicated there was no need to have him review and approve that letter. The motion, as I understood it, was that the other 3 supervisors would review the letter and give their approval. Did that happen before the letter was sent and forwarded to the city? Perhaps after citizens' comments, one of you could answer that. And if the city has not formally responded to the April 30th letter from the town, why are we meeting here 2 days later? The ball would be in their court. As for the whole darn thing, I think our lucky stars that we have 3 board members that are dedicated and devoted to the best interests of the town of Waukesha and its residents. As always, I thank you for the opportunity to address you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Patricia Bartlett, W234 South 5502, Big Bend Road, Waukesha. I'm up here just in reference to Mr. Hahn. I find this refreshing. The last 2 years, most of you know I wasn't here, I was dealing with a sick husband. So to me, suddenly I woke up one day and we're in a crisis. And it was like the world stopped. But I find out that we have 70 closed meetings under the prior administration. 70. Now we got somebody saying we have 5 open meetings, oh God forbid. That's refreshing, that's what this is all about. And I ask every one of you here to leave your baggage at the door. This is our chance to start fresh. Other thing, all due respect to Mr. Hector Diamona, I think we need a new attorney. I think you need an attorney that knows specifically. We've spent $700,000 on this water issue and we're nowhere under closed meetings. You need an attorney that knows a municipal attorney that knows how to handle water and sewer issues. And I know one was suggested and it was Mr. Bansky who stopped the motion. I personally know that group and I know that they're good. I know there's a question with the town of Brookfield that they represent them also. But I don't believe that That's the first time that has happened. I think you owe the citizens true representation. And I ask you again, leave your baggage, come in new. The only one that is new here who has no baggage is Mr. Wolf. And I hope that you learn from the rest of this. And you cannot take water away. The lady who said, I bought my house here, was I guaranteed water? No. But I'll also tell you what, if you would have told me, you can't, if your well or a septic goes, we can't help you, do you think I would have bought? Not in a chance. Nope, I would not have bought. So anyhow, thank you.
Thank you.
Betty Paget, South 57 West 22641. I find it odd that we are here to comment about a letter that we don't even know what's in it yet. And then after we hear what's in it, we're not going to be able to say anything. And I find that just highly irregular and unusual that we're supposed to be commenting on a letter and making suggestions on a letter that we know nothing about of what's in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Wolf, South 51, West 25447, Glendale Road. I was just reading under the citizens' comments here that any questions or comments directed to an individual supervisor or staff person will be deemed out of order by the town board chair. By what this woman said, this was an attack towards Mr. De La Mora. I think you should have hold up, or whoever should have hold up their end of the bargain and call things out of order like that next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to rebuttal that. I disagree. Again, this is Patricia Bartlett. I disagree. I'm a citizen. I pay my taxes. And it was a suggestion. I had said nothing negative. I said you needed an attorney who has background in the items that you're looking at. Nothing, as I said, I have nothing against him. I just don't think he's the man to help us. Not after $700,000.
Thank you.
Jim Walker, W227, South 4145, Concord Court. I'm tired of reading about us guys in the paper all the time. I'd like to have the water thing resolved. I was under the impression after we went through with the previous chair that somewhere along the line we had 3 water meetings, and I was under the impression that somehow or another we could stop the feeding of our land into Waukesha. I should have known better since I live across from the Tim Farm. And a few years ago, the developer there came to the then board and said, if we don't let them build a denser operation there, that they would have Waukesha simply annex that whole farm. And our board at that time rolled over and said, okay, fine. In spite of the fact that those of us who live nearby, 200 and some of us, signed a petition against that. I found out later that, of course, Waukesha couldn't have done that because we were not, nothing in that land abutted the city of Waukesha, so nobody could possibly have annexed it. We have the same situation with this water thing. Now, I don't know what you guys are doing here with each other, how you like each other, whether you don't, frankly, I don't care. But we've got people, if Judy Fuller has any knowledge at all, 2,000 acres or so, they're going to go right over to the city of Waukesha. A few years from now, if we are not in this water service area, we can have anybody from our federal government who makes decisions as well what's good for us and what isn't, down to almost anyone decide that our wells are no longer any good. We could have all kinds of things that happen. We could have an opportunity to hook up to Waukesha if they were there. As it stands, if we end up outside of that thing, we have no opportunity. And frankly, I don't know what else I could do, but please guys, put your baggage down. Put the bullshit. Just please get together and take a look at this and say, hey, this makes some sense to have an opportunity to write something if we really need it. If we don't need it, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Bork, West 238.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Terry Bork, B-O-U-R-Q-U-E, West 238, South 5370, Chestnut Trail. Been here since '76. has been spoken before. My well is fine. I maintain it. I'm not worried about radon. How would we get supplied water? It would be an infrastructure we probably couldn't afford to pipe in from the city. I don't know, because I don't know the facts. The cost for future use, what would that be taxed to us to be in reserve and maybe never ever use it? And my opinion is, and I've heard, you know, the water levels in the Great Lakes are dropping. I don't even know if Waukesha is going to get this from that scenario. But you wouldn't know that either. But I just like to voice my opinion that I don't need the water from Milwaukee to the town of Waukesha where I live. I think whoever was annexed for this future school property is reasonable idea on the borders of where pipes are. But I don't envision you running pipes or us paying for pipes, and I don't want a cost of future use when I don't perceive that there's going to be a need for future use. I understand the city needs it for the radon problem. That's all. Thanks. And I guess I would also like to say is maybe the whole town should be able to have a vote on them, you know, have a vote on this instead of us relying on you voting. And ask the town to come here on a Thursday and just vote yes or no on a referendum. No big political thing. Give us some facts in the paper again and let this happen, you know, either way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Alan Johnson, W256, South 4560, Shadow Ridge Drive. Couple points already made. I just had my well disinfected yesterday. So, and he put my well in. So I thought, hey, good time to ask some questions here. Explained a little about all this, and he said, well, yeah, we can cap it, and we can dig deeper. But you're gonna go through a lot of bedrock, and when we get through, don't know, you might have the same water issue. So to the people who are saying just do another well, we don't know. We don't know what that answer is. And to a few people who said that about the letter, it's on the website. So all you have to do is look it up, and it's from Ed Henschel of the city. And it just tells, you know, what things could happen. And everything is if. No one knows. But at least you want to have a backup plan, and right now we don't. And to say that about a referendum, April 2nd was the election, and we voted these people, especially Mr. Merrick, in because we wanted to bring the water back up. So, but one thing that is really a concern to me, which is also in the paper, and I'm not going to read all that, but some of the issues is, you know, if you don't have a backup plan and you would want to sell your house, what do? If your well goes. And again, it's if your well goes. But if it does go, what do? And then what I just want to know, because my property is a big investment for me. And I don't want to lose it if it's zero, if I can't get water. Now I'm also, my last final point, I'm not going to pick on anybody, I don't want to do that. But we have a certain area right now that can be in the water plan. And I think there's at least 3 supervisors that have that luxury. Why is it good for you and not me? That's my only question to all of you. Why is it good for you and not me? Thank you.
Thank you.
Judy Fuller, South 48 West 23440 Merlin Lane, Waukesha Town. I want to clarify one more time, when I submitted my list, I was very clear that I said, and there will be a retraction coming in the Freeman, that I have a list of $26 million worth of property, 2,000 acres, Some of them are gonna have to make tough decisions because they have been counting on this land for their retirement packages. I want to be clear that never did I say they were all annexing. I don't know how much clearer I can make it. And there are some in there that already have sewer and water. They wanted the issue revisited. They wanted to be vocal, but they didn't want to come sit here and speak in public. Second off, radium levels in the water. Mr. Bansky had brought up about the various levels of the chemicals and how, what is the EPA standard? Well, that is exactly what happened to the city of Waukesha. The standard for radium used to be 10, and the EPA arbitrarily dropped it to 5. And that is what has put a lot of the communities that have bedrock in the same issue. And a lot of them are trying to figure out what to do. We've said the Pledge of Allegiance, and the last few words of it are liberty and justice for all. By doing the small service area, you are creating an unequal, are their taxes going to go up because that area can get sewer? It is putting two different classes of taxing people in this community. You say your water. It isn't your water, it's everybody's water. The hospital, the schools, the stores, people go out to Friday Night Live, they go to the hospital in emergency. You're drinking city water. I mean, is the city gonna say you can't go to the hospital because you're in the town water area? Come on, let's be real. I have been authorized to tell you that the Engler property on the south side of Salesville has petitioned for annexation. The Todd Klotz, some of the Todd Klotz farm is coming in. On the agenda for the Plan Commission on the 8th of May, the Geraldsons and Smarts on Genesee Road at State Highway 59 are bringing in 46 acres. But I have been authorized to tell you that Todd Klotz and Jerry Engler are bringing lands in. They're tired of fighting this battle. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing, I'm sorry. Rick Hayes has forwarded a email because he could not be here, and he had asked me to make sure it could get read into the record so everybody could hear, please. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Angie Van Sock, South 51, West 25375, Glendale Road, Town of Waukesha. On June 21st, 2011, the town board members at that time visited the Common Council of the City of Waukesha. We read this letter into their open session. Dear members of the Common Council and Mayor of the City of Waukesha, we, the members of the Town of Waukesha Board, seek an opportunity to sit down with you as a group to have a direct and candid discussion about challenges which we collectively face as adjoining communities and thereby neighbors. We seek this opportunity because we believe our respective constituencies have elected all of us with the expectation that each of us search for ways to solve common issues that face everyone in the city and the town. To do so, we believe that we must first recognize that we are facing similar concerns, but with different perspectives. In this regard, we need to help each other understand what those perspectives are, and to do so, we need to appreciate the underlying assumptions and the goals which each of our communities have embraced as we have taken public positions on matters of high importance. We believe that once this effort is made, we can then proceed to the second step, which is to explore how we can collectively reconcile and accommodate the needs of the city and the town through the active involvement of elected officials in a hands-on fashion rather than by the cumbersome, time-consuming, and proxy mechanism that we have used in the past, namely litigation. Stated in a different way, we come here to ask you to meet with us as elected officials to explore ways to negotiate three key areas. The first is water, We are mindful of the deadline that the city faces. At the same time, we are concerned that the town residents not be put in jeopardy with respect to its current and future availability, for them to understand the future overall cost if the town chooses to become, in whole or in part of the city water service area. Second is traffic circulation. We are mindful of the city and county's desire to facilitate safe access to and from I-94 from its western portion. At the same time, we are concerned that environmentally important areas and residential neighborhoods are not unreasonably compromised. The third is zoning and development. It is our understanding that the city does not have a policy of requiring annexation as an absolute condition of providing water or sewer facilities. However, we are concerned that this approach has led to haphazard inductions of property into the city. We think that it is more rational for the city and town to examine, identify, and plan for the orderly development of property presently within the town with the objective of having joint city-town involvement in utility expansion and incremental revenue sharing. In conclusion, we want to express our sincere desire to work cooperatively with you on an equal footing and with mutual respect. That letter, again, is dated June 21st, 2011, was read into the minutes at a common council meeting of that same date. We're still talking about the same thing. If the city had truly wanted to work with us on a proactive basis, we have gone to them time after time after time in the last 2 years to work together.
Thank you.
Dean Danner, W269, S2360 Creek Drive. I wasn't going to get up and talk, but I want to respond to the last speaker. 2011, that's 2 years ago. A lot has changed in 2 years. A lot of things water has gone over the dam, both good and bad. The city, in its last letter of April 25th, I think made a very generous offer to the town. 20 years of tax assistance or rebate, however you want to call it. No requirement that anybody has to hook up to the water. No requirement for any town residents to pay anything. All they're providing is the ability, should we need it. There's no risk, there's no harm. I don't understand why we don't jump on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Wayne Krzyzanowski, West 254, South 4360, Pin Oak Lane. My first job after graduation was working for an environmental consulting firm. It was quite enlightening because we would be doing testing out in the field, getting all kinds of numbers and wondering what they meant. The EPA was telling us what they meant. We said, well, what's the standard? What's the baseline that we're supposed to be working on? And their answer was, we were establishing the baseline. What is our baseline for our water? We've got numbers out there. Is that our baseline? Is this how it's always been? And then once we establish this baseline, what did the EPA do? Drop the standard. They wanted cleaner than what you're taking out. I just had my dad's company have to close down because they could never meet those standards that the EPA just kept dropping. You're fighting with big government. You give them an inch, they will take a mile. So, you know, we're sitting there fighting all of this stuff, and we're allowing them to arbitrarily set these limits. One of these things that we like doing is getting all bent out of shape with these numbers. Well, you realize that you're breathing 80% nitrogen? This is terrible. We're supposed to be breathing oxygen. You breathe nitrogen, you're going to die. What are we going to do? Do your basic science books. You'll find out that 80% is what is out there right now, has always been out there. Why do we have to get all excited about this stuff? Let's think about these things. I agree with my wife. The city is the one that have created this crisis. They're putting it on us. Their failure to plan should not be our crisis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Wayne Borger, 5460 Big Bend Road. Just
this is bothering me. This should have been cleared up a long time ago. Leave the town as is. They don't need us, we don't need them. I thought this was decided that if the city didn't accept it with negotiations, we're going back to the decision on 124. Why aren't we there now? Why are we even talking for something else? We've got plenty of water, we just need to preserve it. The cost of bringing in the infrastructure for city of Waukesha Water would be so prohibitive. You know, nothing's been mentioned about if we run into a bad stretch of arsenic or whatever in the water. We are not losing our water supply. We are only losing our drinking water supply. We can still use that water for everything else in the house. A lot of people are buying water already by the bottle to drink. This could be just a matter of continuing. Compare that to the cost of the infrastructure you're going to pay for and the expensive cost of water you're going to buy from Waukesha. There's no comparison at all. It's probably 100 to 1. You listen to these so-called experts that you're hiring for consultants, forget them. Let the town people decide what they need. They don't know. They probably don't even live in the town of Waukesha. We've got a good tax base. We have to maintain that tax base. Our water will be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
A comment, that was 2 emails. Daryl King of South 54 West 23865 Woodmere Trace. I am writing to strongly encourage the town board to reverse the earlier decision on the water service area in order to include the entire town in that area. This is too important of a decision to be affected by the petty bickering with the city of Waukesha. In order to protect the long-term interests of the town citizens, a reliable source of water is needed. There are multiple reasons why various government bodies originally included the entire town in the water service area, and to ignore the logic of that is simply narrow-minded and very short-sighted. The previous town board chose not to ask for citizen input in this decision, and that was very unwise. Next one is from Rick Hayes, West 271, South 2751, Merrill Hills Road. Water annexation, my property, his property, 30 acres adjacent to the school district. Mr. Chairman and board members, unfortunately, I'm not able to attend tonight's emergency meeting to offer my thoughts in person, so have to do so via email. If protocol allows, please read my letter at the meeting. I have owned property in the town for 15 years or so and built my home in the town 5 years ago. I love living in the town. I don't want to leave the town. I have multiple reasons for moving out of the city of Waukesha and don't have a great desire to return. The actions of my town government has seemingly taken that decision out of my hands. In an effort to handcuff its residents to town hall, the board has initiated the deterioration by annexation it sought to avoid. I'm astounded that the board, past or current, didn't see this coming. The board's actions have revoked the rights of its citizens in an effort to protect itself. So wrong on so many levels. In my case, annexation has become a decision by default, by its action. The non-all-inclusive service area, and in action, the long overdue and likely too little, too late attempt to change the service area. The board forced the hand of the school district, and in so doing my hand as well. I am now bounded on 2 1/2 sides by the city of Waukesha. Who could have imagined? With looming deadlines, an unconscionable delay in getting to work trying to cut a new deal with the city, and what appears to be a complete lack of leverage due to timing, I apparently have no choice but to join the exodus. I cannot and will not leave the fate of my largest asset in the hands of others. City, sewer, and water 100 feet from my door, but no ability to hook up if my system fails. Ridiculous. Potential development engulfing me, but forbidden from participating if the opportunity presents. Criminal. How did it come to this? Why must I make a decision about annexation before knowing if the town will be able to finally be all-inclusive? We don't even know if the water pact will be approved. To protect my asset, I have to take action before knowing the outcome of of maybes, bad decisions, poor timing, lack of action. My town let me down. Rick Hayes.